Hey guys, I'm here with the Nightmare Corridor guide. Now, this new rotation is something else, man. There are so many variations, so many different ways you can set up your teams. Um, and obviously, it's easy if you have all the heroes, but as free to play players, we don't. So, we're gonna have to try out a lot of different things, which is what I have done. Um, in this guide, I will be showing you guys 5 different guides that I use to build my teams upon, and also what to do with what mercs you should get for this round. Um, Spoiler alert, I think it's Matria still. However, Awakened Athalia is also a good merc for this round. But I will get first. I'll show you guys the teams that I used for my best result, and also some teams that I used without the Matria merc from a friend. So initially in this round, I went for the Matria merc because I knew the same problematic round would still be here, which used to be round 5, but now it's round 4. As you can see, this is the Matria round. So if you guys can merc a Matria, you should go for this. So this is my best time, and this was done with a Matria merc. So for the first team here, I'm using a very scuffed Lucretia team, as you can see, killing the boss in 1 minute and 11 seconds. But this is just the way it is when you run out of awakened heroes, right? So it's, as you can see, everyone here is contributing with some damage, and Silas is keeping them alive. It's a fine team. It's free to play friendly. It killed the boss, and I was happy. Now for the second team, another free to play friendly team, Scarlet Gress with twins and 2 supports in the backline, killing the boss in 42 seconds. Very good. This is the same team as it was in the previous round. Now for the third team, a very familiar team using Eorin to rush the boss down in record time, right? 17 seconds, so fast. Solus works at Legendary. If you don't have Solus, you can lose Leica, which I also do in one of my next attempts, which I'll show you guys afterwards. Now for the fourth team, this is the Matria Merc team. Now, as you can see, I'm using Kren in here. If you stick around in the video, I'll show you guys how I beat this stage without Matria. By using Kren and also by using Awakened Solus as possible substitute. But I can't stress enough, if you can get a Matria merc, I still think she's the best merc, because it unlocks so many heroes if you can just slot her into this team, because this is by far the hardest team to kill. Now for the fifth team, here I'm using Carasio, as you can see, a not super well invested Carasio, but obviously the seal is doing a lot of damage here. With Vithiel. Later on, I'll show you a combination without Vithiel that uses Saurus instead. That also kills this boss, just not as fast. And for the last team, the sixth team, I'm using Awakened Solus. I'm using Awakened Belinda, sorry. And this is, pretty standard Belinda comp. I like that the solution for the new boss was just, okay, we're going to just throw Belinda in there and she'll get the job done. And well, she did get the job done. So this is my best time with a Matria merc. Now, next up, I want to show you guys what to do if you can't get a Matria merc. And in that case, I would suggest you guys try to get an Awakened Athalia merc. And obviously if you can't get that, I just showed you some teams that doesn't use Awakened Athalia at all. Now, I want to pick the best time. As you can see, the time is about 20 seconds worse. So this was my next try, because after the reset I was unable to get another Matria merc, so I had to settle for Awakened Athalia merc, which made my first team a lot better. You might be able to remember that previously this team was a Lucretia team, but now it's an Awakened Athalia team, and that cut the time down by a lot. However, not a very free-to-play friendly team using an Awakened hero and 4 Celestials. And Moriel, I wouldn't suggest you guys build, because she's fallen out of meta heavily, but she does pop up now and then. Now for the second team, it's the same as the previous round, or the previous attempts. And for the third team, this is where it gets a little bit interesting, because I threw out Awakened Solus from this round and I threw in Leica. And as you can see, before it was 17 seconds, now it's 24 seconds. So I gained another 7 seconds on this round. However, I was able to use Awakened Solus in this round along with Kren to kill the boss in 1 minute and 18 seconds, which for a Kren team is actually fairly decent. When you use Kren for this round, you really just want to be able to kill the boss. Time is secondary, but killing the boss is the most important thing. I'll also show you guys a Kryn variation that doesn't use Awakened Soulless after I've shown you the rest of the teams that I used for this round. And then here you can see, here I'm using Carasio. I was talking about this earlier, a more free-to-play friendly version of the 5th round, where I used no Awakened Heroes and no Celestial Hypergens. I just used Carasio as the main DPS, along with some support heroes. And it actually killed the boss fairly fast. Now I think higher investment in Carasio would help out a lot in this round, because, well, I did bring him to plus 30 signature item, but I think taking him higher could probably be good with some engraving and stuff. And then for the 5th team, or the 6th team, sorry, it's the same team as before. It's basically an Awakened Belinda team. Now, before I go over to some different guys, I want to show you guys the round 4 is without Awakened Soulless, but with Kryn. Now, hopefully I can find it fairly soon. Here, right? As you can see here, there's no Awakened Soulless this time around. And the boss died in 1 minute and 20 seconds. However, I will stress that this is pretty heavy RNG. And the main thing that is so annoying about this variation is that it uses twins. And what does that mean? That means the Scarlet team cannot use twins. And that actually just makes the Scarlet team a whole lot slower. As you can see, I tried using Nevanthi as a sub in here. I also tried Silas. Both work, but none of them are twins, of course, with the haste buff that makes this team really kill the boss fast. But I just wanted to show you guys a Kryn variation without Awakened Soulless. Alright, so that's it for my teams. Now let's go over some guides that I found. Alright, so here we are in the browser. As you can see at the top, we have a lot of images to go through. And I don't know why I made this video, but this is basically me, right? Figuring out what in the world we're doing with our teams. Now, first of all, I'll go over 3 pretty complete guides here that are in Chinese for the new round. Now, actually, no wonder this was downvoted so heavily. It's actually... Never mind. Oh, is it? Wait, this is an old guide. Alright, well, good thing I didn't use that one. Here it is. As you can see, the new boss is here. So, this is a shout out to Pogo on the FK Arena Crowdsourcing Discord. This is a Chinese guide, and as you can see, it also tells you to merc Matria, because merking Matria is very important. Now, as you can see here, the teams, they don't have many variations, many replacements for heroes you don't have, which is why I think this guide is, it's good, but it obviously lacks in some departments. For example, it doesn't tell you what to do if you don't have a Thalia. But you could use the Lucretia team that I showed you guys earlier. But basically, what this guide shows you, also it tells you Kryn here, is that the first team is an Awakened Athalia team, second team is a Scarlet team, much like the previous round. Then the third team is the Speed team with Yorin. The 4th round, obviously the Matria round, but you can use Kryn. And I don't know if I don't have Authors, so I can't tell you if Authors is better than my Kryn formations that I showed you, but I would imagine that he is. He's really good at speeding up battles because he freezes time. And then for the 4th team, right, this is where I used Carasio, but if you have either Awakened Thane or Awakened Brutus, they would slot into this 4th round and probably kill the boss a lot faster than my Carasio was able to do. And then for the 5th team, I think this is pretty agreed upon. This is just the Belinda team, right? And probably... I have not tested it, obviously, I only have one account, but I could see Belinda working at Legendary, but do not take my word for that. It's just, usually she does work at Legendary, but it's considerably slower. Alright, so this was the first guide that I looked at. Then we have the second guide here, which is a newer guide actually. And as you can see, it has more variations. Now again, it's in Chinese, which means 2 things. 1, I don't know what it says, and 2, it's probably good because it's in Chinese. So at the top here, I'm guessing this is the merc priority, which I don't actually agree with, because I think merking Matria is the most important hero for this round. Now, I'm guessing that this is solved with the bold text that indicates the different teams. So for the first round here, it actually has some variations, right? And as you can see, it has a Lucretia variation for us free-to-play players. However, it uses Mulan, and I tried out this comp actually, I forgot to show that, but my Mulan does not have 9 furniture, and I think Mulan's 9 furniture is really important, so I'm not sure these Mulan comps are actually that good, but they might kill the boss still, even without 9 furniture, just in slower time. But as you can see, it suggests you use Awakened Athalia for the first round, and if not, some sort of dimensional Mulan or Lucretia team. Now for the second round, again, this round is agreed upon. It's the Scarlet Gress, Scarlet Baden, if you have him, obviously, team with twins. For the next round, it's obviously the Yoran speed round. As you can see, it has replacements, and also it tells you here that if you can't use Awakened Soulish, you use Leica, which is, it's not just as good, but it's pretty good, right? And Leica is a lot cheaper than Awakened Souls. And then for the fourth team, right, this is the Matria round. Interestingly enough, this has replacements for Tamras, using either Moril or Mehira. I've actually seen the Mehira variation work out. I haven't tried it myself though, but that's something to note, I guess, that also Mehira could be used in this comp. I like that there's something written in red here. I can't read Chinese, but I'm assuming it's like, yeah, this round is not fun. I hope that's what this text says. Anyways, for the fifth round, as you can see, it has some different formations. Nothing I was able to use, obviously, because either you run Thane or you run Brutus. Of neither I have, and I tried these two teams with Legendary Brutus, and it did not work out for me. So I actually think you need Brutus built out for these two teams to work. And obviously, if you have Thane, everything is fine and dandy. But if you don't have either, use my Corasio team. It kills the boss, albeit slower, right? And again, as everyone agrees upon, the last team is just a Belinda team. Interestingly enough, it has... Oh yeah, there's also the quest to kill the boss with 4 heroes. There are a plethora of ways to do this, but this one tells you one of the ways to do it. So you could use this team to do it. Also, I think if you just drop out an Asta, probably this team would still work. Anyways, it also has an Asta sub in Helios, which I guess is nice, right? All right, so these are like the two whole guides, right? But they are not super free-to-play friendly. And I was not able to, successfully... I wasn't happy with what I got from those two guides. So I went further, even further beyond, and I went to Reddit. Now, on Reddit, this time around, there was actually a lot of Nightmare Corridor guides from different players, which I'm happy to see, because usually... the Nightmare Corridor guides on Reddit aren't super free-to-play friendly, but I saw many free-to-play guides on Reddit this time around. So first of all, we have this one from SatDraft 3749 on Reddit, or Master Rig in-game, and he has a pretty good free-to-play guide, I would say. For the first team, as you can see, it's also a Lucretia team, so you can use Lucretia in the first round, but as you can see, the time, obviously, this isn't German, but the time is... it's not the best, but that's what you can expect if you don't use Awakened heroes. Now for the second team, again, he's using the Scarlet team without twins, and thus his time is a lot worse than you would have with twins. But this is another option where he uses Screg, and the reason he uses Screg is probably, I could imagine, that he needed twins for another round, and you guys might be able to guess which round. Now for this, for the third round, he actually uses a pretty interesting team. Or he uses an interesting pet, I should say. Have not seen this pet used, actually. But as you can see, the time is not super good for this round, because you can do it in 17 seconds with fairly low investments, but he does it in 40. However, as you can see, his heroes are not super invested, right? None of them even seem to have furniture, except for Leica. So it gets the job done with fairly low investment, I would say. And then for the fourth team... as you can see, this is the Matra team, this is the Kren team, this is also, I think this is the variation I used of Kren, where you have to pull in twins, and you use Kren with 3 supports, and Skarath, obviously, to get the boss down in 1 minute and 20 seconds. But as you can see, his overall time was 7 minutes, which is obviously not good, but killing all 6 of them is more important than killing 5 of them fast, because once you kill 6 of them, you shoot up to, like basically, if you kill 6 of them in the maximum amount of times, even if someone else killed 5 of the bosses in 0.1 second, you would still be faster than because you faster than them because you killed the 6th boss. Now, anyways, for the 5th team here, he's using a star variation with Vithiel. Interesting. I haven't tried this out myself. As you can see, it killed the boss in 1 minute and 2 seconds. But this is definitely something you guys could try out because, you know, a star is someone many people have built. However, obviously Vithiel might not have been built. And then for the last team, you know, everyone agrees it's just the Belinda round, right? So get Belinda for this one. Now, next guide. Shout out to user Chumin. Oh my god, what did I do? Chumin H or Chumin 320 or Mao Mao or Magic in AFK Arena. He used another free-to-play friendly guide. As you can see, just like me, just like the other guy, just like this guide up here, Lucretia in the first formation, and then, you know, just basically support heroes and Baden in here, killing the boss in 1 minute and 7. As you can see, I should note as well, you can see the overall time is 6 almost 7 minutes, which is not good, but again, killing all 6 bosses is more important. Here, interestingly enough, he throws in a Soulless into the Scarlet team, right? Killing the boss in 1 minute, and then he uses Isolt as well. Interesting team composition. I think Gress and Scarlet probably just does it, and then you just throw in whatever because these two heroes are so strong together. But he doesn't use twins here, which probably means that we're coming up to a twins comp in the Mihira round. Now, again, he agrees with the other guy with the formation, and he also has very low investment in the different heroes, but also gets it done in 33 seconds using the cheap pet as well. And then for the Kren round, the Matria round, he uses twins, right? This is basically the best variation without Matria. And then I'm interested to see, okay, so he also uses Crashio in this round, killing the boss in 1 minute and 15 seconds. Interestingly, he has anyways, he has a lot of engraving on Joan. That's interesting. But yeah, a Crashio team, obviously pretty free to play friendly. And then lastly, interestingly enough, and this was, I read that he was like, you know, a free to play guide, and then I saw Rim and I was like, wait, that's not possible. But yes, it is, because actually he just redeemed his trial this late. I just thought most people would have used their trials earlier, but I guess this guy just held off on it. So Rem is actually a Lucretia replacement, not Lucretia, a Belinda replacement in this round, which I found very interesting. All right, so that's enough rambling for me. So TLDR, you have different guides. You have these teams, right? Then you have these teams. And then you have these two guides on Reddits, right? With these teams. And then you have my teams. If we go back to the game, hopefully it hasn't crashed. It has not crashed. You have my teams, which consists of two variations. One where you don't merc Matria, right? Here's no Matria merc. And then one where you do merc Matria. And that's obviously the fastest way to do it. Merc Matria if you can. Alright. That's the conclusion of this guide. Now, I know this video is probably long. However, I do want to shout out the AFK Arena crowdsourcing Discord server. Because, as you can see, I'm already on it. This is where I find not only, you know, the Chinese guys that I show you guys. Usually Pogo is the one linking them. But also different people's formations are linked in here, but I will I will say that some of the people linking their teams in here are not very free to play friendly, because most of them, or many of these people in here, are hardcore FK Arena players, right? And that means most of them are not free to play players, so they have a lot of awakened heroes. So usually looking at people's teams, it doesn't help you that much, but looking at these guides and looking at different free-to-play players is the way to go. But obviously you can, because I can already tell you that this guy being top 0.4% means that most likely he has a lot of awakened heroes, so it's probably not worth for a free-to-play player to look at this guy's combinations. But anyways, The Pogo guides are solid. Use this. I'll link the link to the server at the end. I'm running out of words. I'm running out of capacity in my throat. I'm going numb. I've talked a lot. I think it's time to rest. I want to leave you guys with this image and wish you guys good luck in the new rotations. Now, I think, obviously this is the first week of it. I think once we get to the weeks 2 and 3, once everything is settled and more guides come out, probably there will be a more streamlined guide next time around. This was more like a crazy man rambling on about different formations, but I think for next week, surely it will be more figured out, and there'll be a more general consensus on what is the best combinations and what are the different replacements for the best in slot heroes. That's it for me. Hope you guys score well in the Nightmare Corridor.